This is the Mobile Home Park Lawyer Podcast with Ferd Neiman. If you're looking to generate wealth and passive income in the lucrative world of mobile home parks, you're in the right place. You'll discover solutions to the common legal and operational pitfalls and how to optimize parks to maximize income. Your host is in the trenches. He's a real estate attorney, financial analyst, and mobile home park investor and operator. Now, let's turn it over to Ferd Neiman.
Welcome back, Mobile Home Park Nation. Ferd Neiman here again today with another episode of the Mobile Home Park Lawyer Podcast. Got another great guest for you today. He's got a unique experience having been a broker and now also working as a vendor in the space. So eager to get to know him more and to share him with the rest of you guys. Please help me welcome my guest, Luis Platt. Luis, thanks for coming on, man.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Fer, for having me in the podcast. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, well, great. Well, thank you. So tell us a little bit more about your background, how you got into MHP and what you've done over the years and what you're doing right now.
Excellent. Well, I have a background in chemical and environmental engineering, and I was working in mining operations. And then my brother-in-law, he co-founded MFI Commercial, which specializes in brokerage just for mobile home communities. So I decided to try real estate, and it was very successful. I learned a lot. And so what they focus is in looking for off-market properties for the clients that the brokers has, and that allowed me to get a lot of experience in the mobile home industry and the manufactured home industry.
Okay, great. So what type of parks were you guys typically trying to find? I mean, is there a certain geography like Southeast, Midwest, or small parks, big parks, private utilities, or any of the above?
Uh-huh. Yes, when I started working with them, we focused on looking for parks that fit the investment criteria of our clients. So that was the main average park size is 100 plus spaces, and where you have city utilities and where thereby city nearby. And they're doing that nationwide, and I was doing also that nationwide. So that allowed me to get a really good sensation of how the market is in the East Coast, to the West Coast, to the Midwest, to the everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. That's the ideal park, right? Everybody
Yeah.
wants the same. Nobody wants the 7-unit park on a well in a lagoon in the middle of nowhere. But obviously the nicer parks are harder to find and harder to find at reasonable prices now. And I worked for your guys' group on some deals. I mean, you guys typically will source the deals for buyers, as opposed to a listing agent for the seller. You go reach out, you find the sellers and then bring them offers, kind of like a pocket listing.
Yeah, well, what we focus on is just locating people that want to sell the mobile home park. And I was doing cold calling, I was doing email, trying to get reach to the property owners. I was focusing really at the conferences, like MHI conferences, where are able to meet people in the industry, and they're the investors buying the manufactured home communities.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
So what about now? I know you've switched over. Tell us about where you're at now and what you're doing.
Yeah, so I was doing the brokers this year, and then I got approached by Quickbit Internet. And what they do, they also have a niche. They provide internet specifically for manufactured housing communities, and that includes RV communities too. So they approached to me this year, and they invited me to work with them to basically share the vision and the message of Quickbit Internet, which is high-speed internet for manufactured housing communities. And since I always been kind of a tech guy, when I saw the technology and the approach, having been immersed in the mobile home industry, I saw the potential right away. When you have a system that you can deliver high-speed internet without digging in the community, it's just like futuristic laser beams going to the residences and being able to provide the internet that people need today for our digital needs.
So how does that work? If you're not digging, is it basically like Wi-Fi, but a bigger, better package than Wi-Fi?
Well, it's bigger and better because Wi-Fi is not able to carry the signal from the fiber optic through a wide range through a community. If you put a Wi-Fi in a community, you're not going to be able to give that high speed internet. But what we do is we bring fiber optic to the community, and that's wire fiber. And then from there, we have a main antenna in which we do a circle around the community, which we do a system of radios in which that circle carries the high-speed internet. And then each residence has a little radio in which we shoot the signal to each residence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many sites does one ring handle? I mean, does this work on 100 site parks or on 20 site parks, or do you need to have more? I'm just curious, like how this works in pricing structure and speed difference compared to Wi-Fi and things like that.
Yes, and just to make sure when we do this type of technology to the community, the service that we're doing, because we really want to serve the manufactured housing industry, we do it at no cost. So the owners don't have to invest any capital investments, because what we want is to market to the residents. So for example, like you're saying, we have 100 space manufactured home. So probably we will build one ring, is what we call it. And then from there, that's enough to disperse it through the community. But if we have a bigger community, we have the ability to build different rings. And that's the ability to pass the signal to wherever you want in the community.
Okay. And then this is a design to help people who are working from home and playing video games and stuff that need more robust internet than just basic internet.
Oh yeah, this is the difference, and this is what I'm trying to educate the industry here, is like fiber optic internet. It really opens the possibilities to do, like you're saying, online gaming. Families living with kids, they can do gaming without lagging. People that work remote, they can do high definition Zoom calls, FaceTime. Everything is going to be in high definition with no lagging or buffering. So that's where the advantage of this technology comes in, and this is very different from cable internet speeds, where the reliance is not that very well, and the speeds, if there's a lot of people connected, you don't get the speeds that you really want.
Right. Yeah, I know, like at my desk in my office, I've got it directly hooked up because we used to have just everybody was on Wi-Fi, and then it was too many people and it wasn't working. So being hooked up with high-speed cable has definitely been helpful.
And it makes a difference, right? When you have slow internet to high-speed internet, like your life, it gets more, it's more convenient. Like you don't get mad when it's buffering or lagging or like.
Right. So
Right.
how's there? So what if I mean, how do you know if the residents are going to sign up? Like if you come around my communities and you don't charge me, are you surveying them ahead of time, or how does that work? Because are you just assuming it's such a great product, they'll definitely drop using the cable internet provider and they'll sign up with you?
This is such a great product, like exactly like you're saying. You cannot compare fiber optic speeds to cable internet speeds. And when we go to a community, we really try to do a good marketing campaign to the residents in educating them to what's the difference between having fiber optic and what they used to have. So usually we go to communities and we do launch events when we start, and we get probably 30 to 50% of the community signing up, because it has a lot to do with the education that we do.
Okay. Now, is there any in general for this type of internet service, is there any issues with cities or anything like that where they don't want you coming in, or competitiveness from other, getting boxed out because of other brands or anything like that?
No, actually, the Federal Communications Commission, what they want is to have a competition between the internet providers for multifamily residences, and that includes manufactured homes. So right now, we haven't had any issue with other competitors. We just can go to any community and offer our services. There's no territories or anything. We just work with the fiber optic providers that are around the community, and working with them is that how we bring the fiber optic to your community.
Okay, got it. So you're not digging new, you're finding some. So if my community doesn't currently have fiber optics around it, are you not able to help on the community like that?
Well, yeah, we work with the fiber optic provider to either trench it all the way to the community, or there's other ways that we can figure it out to bring that signal from wherever it is. We have, just to tell you, it's very exciting. This technology, there's sometimes that fiber optic can be 20 miles away from the community. Let's say an RV community that wants high-speed internet because of their residents. They want to work remotely from there, but the fiber optic is 20 miles away. We have radios that we can use to transmit the same speed and transmit it all the way to the RV community. So we really work with the property owner and what are the specific needs, and we try to do all this at no capital expense to the owner. We work with them because right now what we want is to break that digital divide and bring internet, high-speed internet to the most people we can.
Okay, got it. So what other kind of technological advances come with this, or anything else as far as futuristic experiences, or what's your lens for the future as far as this being an amenity or service for residents?
Yeah, excellent. Well, the future is unlimited with this technology. And what it really, when I found out about this technology, it came to my mind really quick. A movie that came in 2018 came out. It was Ready Player One. And that movie focused on the future of United States in 2045. And they have these manufactured homes stacked in like buildings, and people live there. And the intro of the movie is that you all these stack of manufactured homes, they have high connectivity, and people are able to do a lot of stuff with VRs, with electronic treadmills, with suits that you can feel. So they're immersed in a digital world. And that's how I see this technology, fiber optic, providing it to mobile home communities. It will be able that residents will be able to use VR headsets with no problem, work remotely, have several devices working in the same house at a high speed and with no issues. So that opens the world of possibilities of people working from home, playing, healthcare, etc.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So what percentage of communities would you say have this kind of technology already in them? And it's a pretty new concept, so probably only 0, 1, 2%, or what would you estimate?
Well, there's very few communities that have been able to put fiber optics and dig it around in the community and put it to the residences. So I will say that's minimum. But basically what communities have is just cable internet, or they broadcast a Wi-Fi signal to the whole community. So the availability that we have to bring this service to this industry is big, very big.
Okay, got it.
Mhm.
So what other trends do you see in the future, whether on this side or in the brokerage side? Like, where do you think the industry is going in the next 5 years?
Well, the interest is going. Well, that's very interesting because once you're able to future-proof your community with a good digital infrastructure, that's where the multiple opportunities come. Now you have a community that is high tech. You have a community that is smart. So from the property management perspective, using technology will increase your NOI, will make your property management activities easier. And from the residents, I imagine having a high-tech community. You're going to be able to attract residents with a high pay job. They're going to be able to have probably bigger families living in the manufactured homes. We've seen that now manufactured homes, you can get like up to 3 to 4 bedroom houses. So imagine having a family of 3 or 4 people working remotely or doing their school remotely. And that's the future of these communities. We can really turn manufactured home communities in high-tech communities with the right infrastructure.
Okay. So you mentioned, I get that from the resident perspective of you've got more bandwidth to have more people and have more devices and better service at home. So how does it help the property management company you said the operations are more efficient? Is that just so because the manager has better internet, or is there something else that makes the property management business easier?
That's one thing. When we go to a community, because we have the internet signal and we have a lot of signal, a lot of capacity with the fiber optic, we provide complementary internet to the office, the clubhouse, and the employees living in the community. So right away, that's a reduction of your operation costs, very big. Then by having internet around the whole community, you're able to put security systems. Now you're able to probably reduce the amount of work that the property manager has to be on site, or reduce the amount of, sometimes communities have to hire a police officer
Right.
to be in the community. So with these solutions, you can cut those costs. Then also, I was asking at the CICO conference, there was a very interesting conference by the mobile insurance guy, and he was saying that having security systems may help you in reducing your premium, your insurance premium. Why? Because you're being proactive in reducing the claims in relation with health and security. So there's now you becoming now making your community smart. The options are multiple when what you can do with them.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that would be valuable. Definitely have the security cameras. I'll make a note of that 'cause we've got some security cameras in some
Mhm.
parks, and that's the downside is you don't have the Wi-Fi, so you can't put it all over. You can put it by the office, but we have one community where we had some crime, and it was like we had to go around to other residents and say, "Hey, can we put a camera on your house facing out?" And then some of them are like, "No," and some of them said, "Yes, but I want you to pay for my internet." And we're like, "You already have the internet," and they're like, "Well, it's tough." So it's like, God, we don't want to pay for internet for 10 houses.
Yeah. So yeah, those are those are the benefits. If you just think about like how the benefits of having your home smart, imagine that multiplying by a community of manufactured homes, and that's where the really benefit comes in.
Okay. All right, that's good. Any other benefits or educational tips or anything you want to share concerning this?
Yes, of course. So, for example, the ability of putting fiber optic high-speed internet is that also this is a win-win situation for the property owner, because now the owner is providing an amenity that the residents really need and they will use. So there's an opportunity to do revenue sharing in which the owner can also be proactive and provide that extra amenity, and they can recover some of the revenue is going to go to them. So that's going to help the operations at the community. So that's a really good program that we can implement when the owners are really partners, and they can help us market the product to the residents.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I know years ago, I don't think I think the FCC like blocked this, but a lot of park owners were, cutting a deal with one cable company and then requiring everybody to use it. But I think the government finally got mad at that because I know I looked at doing it at one point, and then it was at the time I didn't have the occupancy threshold to make it make sense because I was going to have to pay $50 per month per lot, and I only had like 30% occupancy. So I was like, well,
Mhm.
I need to wait till I get to like 75, and then it was going to make sense because I was going to be losing money in the meantime. But then you could upcharge it or things like that. So it's kind of similar, but but it's optional for the residents. They can still use cable if they want to, but if they use yours, they get better service, and then I could, as the park owner, I could have have some sort of revenue sharing in it.
Yeah, excellent. And you, for as a property owner, what benefit do you see from your residents living up to the digital life? Do you see any of your residents becoming better in their life if they apply high speed internet?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in case by case basis. I mean, some people certainly like, hey, now I can have a better job, 3 hours away or something like that, and be
Mhm.
remote, and I can have better pay, and I can then be more reliable. I'd be a little concerned with some of them to say, great, now we can just play video games all day, and we don't have to get a job, and not that we can't pay the rent. Um, I had one house where it was a really nice brand new house that I sold to these guys, and it was four guys that were roommates, and they wanted to buy it because it was cheaper to buy than rent, and they got all four guys on the same mortgage, a 21st mortgage,
Mhm.
and they immediately boarded the windows and painted the entire house on the inside black so that it was completely dark so they could better play video games. And then and they all lost their jobs, and then one of them actually just kept his job, but the four of them lost the home to foreclosure, and I had to buy it back from the bank. And I went inside and I'm like, what the heck were they doing? He's like, we really like video games. So for those guys, I'm like, I don't want them to have any internet, but for the most part, I think better internet is good.
Excellent. No, yeah, And like I've been saying, that's gonna open the opportunities for the residents. And how I see it here is looking at the vision, is looking at the future. How can you future-proof your communities and make sure that the people that live there have a steady job, have an extra source of income, have ability to do a school or work, and bringing that ability to each community? Because there's right now 17 million people that live in manufactured homes in the United States. So we don't want that population to be left in the old digital infrastructure, not being able, because I've been seeing it. One of my first things that I did when I joined Quickbit, I went to a launch event and I started walking around with this community that had our service. And I went to one of the manufactured homes, and there was a kid playing outside, and I told him, "Hey, imagine playing Fortnite and not having any buffering. Everything is gonna be so smooth." And he was so happy. "Oh yeah, can I do that?" "Well, tell your mom we're offering high-speed internet, and you're never gonna have any lagging." And he was all happy. So I think the new generation appreciates that they can do smoothly all their digital lifestyle and with no issues.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the minimum park size you guys work in?
Well, right now we're doing between 100 and 200 space communities, and that's because of the logistics of bringing the fiber. But we can work with the community owners, and depends. Everything is about scalability. So it depends on the communities that we have in the area, how many spaces can we get. Is a project becomes easier, but it's between 100 and 200 spaces.
Okay. Got it. Well, what other information you want to share? I don't have any real IT knowledge in digital. I'm not I don't play video games or watch TV. I watch TV like once a month for an hour. So I'm not the digital guy. So I don't have great questions for you, but maybe share some stuff with us.
No,
as far
no.
as-
And this is great. This is what I'm trying to educate at the industry, because this is what I've seen. All this really energy that I have about the high-speed internet, it grew up because in Tucson during COVID time, we started seeing homeless people all over. So I was doing brokers, and how can we use manufactured home communities to help the homeless issue? And in my crazy ideas, I was like, well, let's get them in VR headsets and put them in a manufactured homes, affordability with housing, and then you can get them on the digital life, and they may be able to do something that and bring value to the society. And this is the thing that I'm trying to talk to the owners and tell them, like, this is an opportunity to make your manufactured home communities high-tech communities. This is the future where people are going to be able to live another life. In that movie, The Ready Player One, it was very impacting and shocking how people can really get immersed in the technology life from all ages. You can see people playing in their VR headset or doing something in their treadmill, from kids to all the way to old people. So the future of our communities, residential communities, is going to be on the infrastructure that you provide to the residents. And right now, water, electricity, and sewage, they're not enough utilities for the modern living. You need the extra one, that is connectivity. And that's what we're trying to do. We're focusing, our niche is manufactured housing, because with the technology that we develop, we really can bring a good service to the residents of these communities.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, well, good. I hope you guys are successful at it. It's a new concept for me to have all this high speed fiber. So we've never provided it. Our residents never provided. I have one park though that comes to mind where it was my hometown, and we had like 90 spaces in there, and there was only one internet provider, and I didn't live in that town anymore, and I didn't know that the internet provider wasn't very good, but apparently it wasn't very good. So the people in town like convinced some other vendor to come to town, but it didn't go into your neighborhood unless the infrastructure was there. So all the people in my park petitioned me to allow this new internet provider to come in. And I said, I don't care if they come in. Well, then the internet provider wanted me to pay a bunch of money for infrastructure. And I was like, I'm not going to get the benefit out of this if I'm paying up front. And then I go, you guys going to give me a revenue split? No. Are you going to reimburse me if you have a bunch of people sign up? No. And I was just like, so then they went around telling all the residents, Ferd won't let us do it. And I was just like, Ferd won't let you do it and pay you 20 grand to do it. Ferd will let you do it for free, but they wanted me to pay for all the infrastructure. So it ended up, so something like this would have been great.
And that's the problem. The problem that I've seen talking with community owners is that they relate internet with, oh, it's just a utility. I'm going to have all the pains of have to deal with this. And that's that stigma about having another utility in your manufactured home. And I'm sure a lot of clients of you, they come at you with, hey, what do I do with utilities? What do these providers? It's like a lot of questions about that. So in our case, we don't want the owners to see internet as a utility. It's something essential for the modern living. And they shouldn't be able to be worried how I provide that. So that's why we created this technology that fits really good. And this is always think the future is going to be in high-speed internet and the right internet infrastructure.
Okay. Good stuff. All right, Luis. Well, how can people find you? If you got any parting words, or if not, how can people find you after this?
Yeah, so I mainly like to be posting in LinkedIn. So you can find me in LinkedIn mainly. Send me a message through there. Look at the posts that I'm doing. I'm trying to be educational, educate our network, our industry about what is internet, the importance of high speed, and how your residents mainly can benefit of this technology.
All right, man. Well, sounds good. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for sharing your insights.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to contact me.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you so much, Fer.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Mobile Home Park Lawyer Podcast with Ferd Neiman. Ready to learn more? Go to www.themobilehomelawyer.com for free resources and materials to help you succeed. If you love the podcast, go to Apple Podcasts, give us your review, and subscribe today. Thank you for listening. Neither the Supreme Court of Missouri nor the Missouri Bar reviews nor approves certifying organizations or specialist designations. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.